Hi, my name is Sarah Pagnatelli, and today I'll be demonstrating how I created my histogram and the process of doing so. In my presentation, I show you how I cleaned the data, which helped me prepare my frequency distribution. I explained how I created my frequency distribution and what it was used for. I explained how I identified the lower class limit and the class width. And lastly, I elaborated on what shape the distribution was, whether it was skewed right, skewed left, or bell shaped. I explained why I chose that and how the graph showed me, or how the graph presented it in that way. And overall, my presentation should just guide you through the steps thoroughly and take you through the process of making a histogram. And yeah, I hope you enjoy my presentation. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we are going to write down our data, which is the given heights of 26 members in the class. So this is 65, 68, 68, 66, 64, 63, 60, 64, 63, 70, 68, 54, 66, 66, 62, 65, 70, 72, 65, 70, 66, 63, 64, 69, 72, and 62. So since we know that the data is on 26 members, I'm going to make sure I have 26 numbers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. So now that I know I have all my data, I am going to clean my data and put it in order. And how I do this is I put the numbers smallest to largest. So as you can see, the smallest number we have is 54. Then we have 60. We have 62. 62. We have 63. 63. 63. We have 64, 64, 64, 65, 65, 65, 66, 66, 66, 66. And then we have 368. We have 169. We have 3 70s, and we have 2 72s. So now that my data is in order and is all cleaned up, I am going to create my frequency distribution chart. So we have our class, then we have our frequency. And how I did this is I chose numbers that made most sense to me and best represented the given data. So since the lowest number is 54, I'm going to start with 54. And how I did it is I did it by fives. So I did 54 to 58. And then I did 59 to 63. And then I did 64 to 68. And then 69 to 73. So now I'm going to tally up my numbers and see my data. So our first class is 54 to 58. So I have 154. I don't have any 55s, no 56, no 57, and no 58s. So our next class is 59 to 63. I don't have any 59s. I have 160. I have 2 62s, and I have 3 63s. Our next class is 64 to 68. I have 3 64s. I have 3 65s. I have 4 66. And I have 3 68s. Lastly, I have 69 and 73. So I have 169. I have 270. I have 3 70s. And I have 2 72s. So I have 1, 6, 13, and 6. So now that I have my class distribution chart, I can identify my lower class limit. And I can identify my class width. So how I identified my lower class limit is I looked at my clean data, and I looked at the smallest number. And the smallest number we have, as you can see, is 54. So that is our lower class limit. Now our class width, I looked at the numbers I chose to pick for my class, which is 54 to 58, and numbers in between are 54, 55, 56, 57, and 58. And as you can see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So our class width is 5. So now that I have identified my lower class limit, my class width, and created my frequency distribution chart, I can go right ahead and create my histogram. So I'm going to draw my graph. Sorry if it's a little crooked. I'm going to change the color for the x-axis. Okay, so for my x-axis, I just have to write these numbers: 54, 59, 64, 69. So I'm going to write 54, 59, 64, and 69. And since our largest number is 72, I'm going to go ahead and write 74, just because 64 is there. Now I am going to change my color to write my y-axis. I'm going to change it to purple. And my y-axis is my frequency. So as you can see, I have the numbers 1, 6, 13, and 6. And my largest number is 13. So I have to go up to 13. So I'm going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So as we know, a histogram is constructed by drawing rectangles for each class of data. So that is exactly what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to change it back to black. So our first class is 54 to 59. As you can see, that is 1, so I'm going to draw it to 1, and I'm going to fill it in. And then our second class is 59 to 64, and that is 6. I'm going to fill that in. Our third class is 64 to 69, and this is 13. I'm going to fill that in. And then our last class is 69 to 74, and that is the same. That is 6 as well. So I'm going to fill that in. So now that I have filled in my histogram, I am going to complete the big 5, which I already did 2, but I'm going to do the other 3. And that is, I'm going to change it back to pink. So for my x-axis, I'm going to title it heights, because these numbers given are the heights in inches. Okay, then I'm going to go back to purple. Our y-axis is our frequency. And then our title, I'm going to title it, we can title it heights in inches of, since there are 26 members, obviously 26 members of the class. Okay, so we have our title, we have our y-axis, we have our x-axis, and we have our histogram. So now that we have created our histogram, I'm able to identify what kind of shape it is. So what I gathered from this information and data is that this graph is bell-shaped. Okay. The reason how I gathered it was bell-shaped is because there is one highest point right here. Unlike other histograms like skewed right or skewed left or uniform, there's not necessarily one highest point with evenly sized. Bell-shaped, it's evenly sized, and as you can see, there's 6 and 6, which are both even. So this is how I gathered what kind of shape my histogram was, and yeah, this is my histogram. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I hope I was able to demonstrate the process of creating a histogram through my steps. And before I end this presentation, I just want to elaborate what the purpose of a histogram is and what I hope my presentation reflected. So the purpose of a histogram is to give a visual representation of the data, and that is done so by drawing rectangles for each class of data. And I did that in my presentation by coloring in each rectangle to show you the different classes and the different values from the data that has been collected. And that is the end of my presentation. And again, I hope you enjoyed it.